Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Well, welcome to the Miles with Moms podcast, a podcast for moms chasing goals through seasons of life. I'm Olivia.
I'm Shanna.
I'm Caitlyn.
And I'm Matt.
Yay, we've got guests today. So we are bringing you training tips, mom and expert interviews, and the kind of best friend banter that makes you feel like you're on a run with us. Whether it's your first 5K or your next marathon or a stroller tempo, we've got your miles and your sanity. Since we're building a new platform, we'd really appreciate it if you can rate, subscribe, and share our podcast with another fellow mama runner.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a everyday hero shout out. Her name is Janae Bentley. She just sent us a message. She said, just listened to today's episode on my 9-mile run today. It was perfect. Thank you for being in my ears. My half marathon is coming up on November 23rd, and you all have been a big part on helping me get my speed and running mojo back. Thank you. Good luck, Janae. I already have kids popping through the door.
Yeah.
This will be an interesting recording. I'm like,
I watched that video that went viral during the pandemic of the guy like on BBC and the kid comes strutting and you've got to know the mom. And the mom like comes in and pulls them out. And I was like, your kid was just crawling like the mom. And
yeah. You always do the army crawl. And I'm like, they can see you back there. Who are you trying to fool?
I guess I gotta start watching the YouTube so I can get that in.
Yeah. It's that or somebody needs their butt wiped. And Olivia looks like she's owned that one today. So
See, that was why I was distracted during the intro just now, because I can hear her going, I'm done. I'm
of course.
And I know she was saving that. I know until the second we hit record, I knew it. She ran in here and she's like, I'm pooping. And it's just so special.
It's relatable. Yeah, we get it. 100%. I know I've got a kid with her feet on the counter climbing up for snacks right now. So
we're all
like independent enough that you think that there will be no problem, but there will probably be an interruption. We'll see.
Yeah, Tuesday for school, and I was on with my boss, and they decided that was a time to play salon with my hair.
Oh my gosh.
my gosh.
Which was just him and I, and he thought it was funny. So
I think
man.
men have it a little bit more though. It's like a little bit more endearing, but for women, it's kind of like, why can't you get your together? Like,
So
can't you
true.
discipline your
yeah,
children.
he said though that we had to jump on a call right after with all the leadership, and he said you have to go on camera with your hair like that.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, I don't know if they're going to take me seriously with this bow in my hair.
Circulating around my company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how's everybody's week been? What have you guys been up to, Caitlyn and Matthew? Like, what has your week been looking like? It's finally Saturday. I mean, we made it through the week, which is like Saturdays. When I get to Saturday, I'm like, we're almost there. Sunday, my husband's home, and things are good again.
Well, we've had an interesting
Why don't you
week.
go first?
Yeah, well, we did have like it was voting on Tuesday, so I had like a day where I went to school and the kids were here. He was at the New York City Marathon last weekend and
Man,
fell down the
Wow.
stairs afterwards and broke his toe. So
No.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
yeah, so we've got a boot and so a lot of the stuff that we would normally be doing is not happening right now because my calf toe. So it's been really, really great around.
Halloween,
Wow.
and I ran the New York City Marathon with her sister-in-law.
Which is a
My sister-in-law,
project.
her sister. Then I had to fly to Ohio on Tuesday, but instead of driving to the airport, I drove to the ER after falling down the stairs.
and I laughed. He like came in the room and he was like, I think I broke my foot. And I was like, huh, at least you didn't die.
Oh my
Because I
gosh.
had like intrusive thoughts about someone falling down the stairs a lot postpartum. I was like,
Wow.
I've seen that vision of someone falling down the stairs so much, but they like cracked their neck or head or something. So I was like, at
Yeah.
least you died. It was just your foot. And he was not that was
He's like, sorry that happened to you.
Sorry
He's
that
like,
happened
"Oh,
to
I
you.
saw stars." I was like, "That's interesting. I'm going to sleep." Like,
I'm going back to
good luck
sleep.
in Cincinnati or wherever you're flying to. Like, have fun. Yeah, but he didn't end up going. So actually, my week has been easier because he's been home. So I am not solo. I didn't have to solo parent this week. Next week you are still going. So next week I'll be back to the grind of trying to do everything for everyone without help. So,
My
which I know,
gosh.
Olivia, you do a lot of solo parenting too. So
Yeah, I was just gonna say I feel for you on that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's the season. But yeah, other than that, things are good. We have like real fall here. So it's like fall is wrapping up. All the leaves are down, getting ready to decorate for Christmas. It's all good.
Getting ready to decorate for Christmas. I love
I
it.
know. No. The
Oh,
second Halloween was over, I was like, get out Halloween. Because my kids have been singing and since August. They have been singing like
oh,
Night Before Christmas songs and
Yeah,
yeah, so I was ready.
for
that is
sure.
awesome. That's
And
so
there's something about how many times you have to dress them up in costumes throughout the whole week leading up to Halloween, especially if like they're in school because they're like they yes.
Parade. Yes. Yes. I was like, when was Halloween one day? We have a Halloween party at our house and we dress up with them. So we do like the whole family thing. So it's like way
Yeah.
over the top. And I was exhausted by the time it actually got here. Around through all the neighborhoods because I tried strides and totally wasn't ready for that. And it was not a good plan. So yeah, we're both limping right now, but he's limping more than me, which is new.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh
my gosh.
man. And your sister, did she go for she went for a BQ, right? Did she end up getting it?
Yeah, so technically she got it, but she's only like 3.5-ish minutes under the buffer. So
Ooh.
depending on how that downhill, the change in
Yeah.
the structure of the downhill qualifying time impacts it. But knowing my sister, it's gonna be like off by 2 seconds. Like it's gonna
Oh.
Oh
be like
no.
she high-fived too many kids and didn't get in. But I think she was really happy with it. It was only her second marathon and she like me
Wow.
is fairly injury prone. I think we have some genetics that are work against us. And she didn't get to train like very unconventional training, like Stairmaster. She did her long runs and like one workout and then did the rest like cross training. So she ran with him the whole way and he did a good job pacing her. Yeah.
And since we're
Yeah.
on this podcast, I want to shout out Helen O'Beary, who runs for the company,
Yeah.
who won the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so incredible.
I was fortunate enough to see her that evening, and
Yeah. So he's sending me like, what are you up to? I'm like, I don't know, wiping butts. And he's like, with Helen O'Beary. I'm like, cool, like sounds
Can we switch? Can we
yeah,
switch,
right.
please?
Like not relatable at all,
It's-
but it's cool, whatever.
but yeah, shout out to Queen Alpha Mom Helen.
She is an alpha mom, man. That woman, I see her in her 40s just continuing to kill it. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
She'll be
so
like
cool to see her run.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It's
cool.
it's been really awesome to see like her progression with the company too and be like get front row seat to it. He has like a literal front row seat. I'm like
Yeah.
looking at his videos like, can I share this on social? And he's like, no, actually. like legit can't. like darn, I need some street cred here.
He's a street cred. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, how's your week been going, Olivia?
It's been good. What a blur. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's like when you're in training and everything, it's like I'm very one day at a time, but the whole like having kids in sports things, but that they're so little, it feels so unnecessary. I will say. It's like you love it, but it also like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they're getting exposure, and also they need to be ran like dogs. I'm like, that's how that just sounded, but they do. It's like just get their energy out, and then it's like 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and you're getting them ready, and you're like, okay, I need shoes on. I need shoes on.
Yeah.
We have to go to the store. We have to make snacks and all this stuff for the whole team. How many people are on the team? I don't know. I'm gonna buy so much extra and all this stuff. And I'm like, he is 5 years old. How did I get myself in this position? But yeah, no, it's been good. I'm just glad to have like another week down, and it was like a lot of pushing runs around, and I'm like, I'll probably take today off and then do my run from Thursday tomorrow, and who knows, but it's just one of those messy marathon builds, I think, which is fine because that is honestly usually a more humbling experience when you get to the
Mhm.
start line anyways. And yeah, so I'm
Totally.
glad about that. How about you?
Well, my pubic bone hurts right now. I had a 18.6 miler today, which I don't know why a coach would ever schedule that. Like, I don't have the maturity to stop at 18.6. If I'm running
30K, baby. 30K.
I know. If I'm running 18.6, I am running 19 miles, okay? So it ended up being 19. And I felt really good, but oh my gosh, this pubic bone pain is like next level. It's just been a dual achy pain. And I'm just like, this reminds me of postpartum all over again. I remember those first 6 months coming back into the sport, everything just hurt. Your core hurt, your lower abs, where they should be,
Yeah.
hurt. And but it's been so fun. Like it's been a really fun week. It's been a really, really busy week. Last night was super rough for us because one kid woke up. She ended up having strep throat. We had to take her to the Insecure this morning, and then 2 other kids were coughing the whole time, and I was like, don't lay next to me. I don't want this. But it's just mom life. Like you just hang on and you make the most of it, and Sunday is tomorrow, so I'm super stoked.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's definitely just like the season where it starts and then until it
Yeah,
warms up again, it's like,
till
okay,
like
let's
May.
yeah, pretty much. Like how many times is all of this gonna run through the house? So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I also is this your biggest age gap between children?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wonder if like that's part of why you're experiencing like these aches and stuff because you've always been like pregnant, then postpartum, and then pregnant again and stuff. So I wonder if it's just like, oh, we're doing this again.
This
It's been
is
a
this is
while.
this is your 30s pregnancy, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I feel like everything kind of changes in your 30s. I've
Just a
noticed.
few years away from being considered a geriatric pregnancy.
It's legit though, as someone who was a geriatric pregnancy. Difference is
Geriatric.
Were
like
you?
legit. Yeah, I mean I'm 40 now, but I had my last kid 39, so
Oh yeah, that would
the
be. Oh
world
my gosh.
difference.
I
So
bet. I
I'm
mean,
turning
20
41 literally in 2 weeks, but I'm 40, okay?
You own that 40 for as long as you want, even
Yeah.
into next year.
I like new age group, but I haven't had a chance to capitalize on that yet. So
Oh
I know.
yeah. That's right. Oh my gosh. Wait, did you say 18? Sorry, now I'm hung up on this. Is 18.6 30K?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is
Oh,
your
that makes
coach from,
sense.
like, UK or
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
why.
he's
Can
European.
you just,
That
like, 'cause,
makes
like,
sense.
30K, maybe it automatically, like, transferred it over, for you.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
thought
it
your
totally
coach was
does.
UK. Yeah, so it's
He
30.
always puts like 20K workouts, 30K. He's always everything's 1K, 1 km, 2 km, 3 km. I'm like, fucking A.
Yeah, yeah,
Just give me the miles. I'm
yeah.
American, okay? I know we're like a pain in the ass because we can't just follow the rest of the world, but
That's
We
so
we
funny.
watch a lot of cycling, so, like, we've gotten kind of into the kilometers a lot, so
yeah.
Oh,
I will,
yes.
I will say when you're pacing someone for the marathon, as I did last Sunday, uh, I never took the time to turn my watch off for kilometers, so that's what the splits do.
Oh
It's
no.
helpful because it forces you to pay closer attention to the pace than by miles.
they happen more frequently.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I have thought about if I should switch my watch to being in kilometers for the marathon because it goes by, it like notifies you more often, but I turn my notifications off now for like mile splits. But I will say at the end of my last marathon, I was like, oh my gosh, you only have 8K left. And I kept telling myself, I was like, you have 2K left. And for some reason that was helping me because it was going by faster than just mileage alone. But I cannot tell you how many rants I've gone on about him giving you those 18.6. And now I'm like, oh my God, that makes way more sense. Of course, he's just giving you 30K. That literally no rant needed.
Well, also, I don't know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've raced a lot of 30Ks because in New England, there's like this really great circuit of like a variety of distances that you have to do. So we've raced 30K a lot. So we're very aware of the 18.6 and the 30K. But I know it's not like a common race distance, but around here we have a bunch
Yeah.
of them. Not so much
Yeah.
anymore. I think one of them that's really popular just like
Last year,
stopped.
this year.
Last year was last year, so
That's why I did it.
yeah, yeah. So that's why, like, right away, I was like, I know that distance because
Yeah.
that was like, if I bonk this, I will never do a marathon, and if I do good in the 30K, then I'll consider the marathon.
I
So
wasn't even doing the marathon. I just did the 30K because I heard they were never gonna have it again.
yeah. Well, now you
I
know.
love that.
Now you know. So 18.6, 30K. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
My older, wiser wisdom here. You know?
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Now
But
you
still,
turn 40. You
bestowed
know
upon
30K.
well, I love that. We're obsessed with hearing about other people's race scenes. Like we've talked about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just sounds, I mean, just to have opportunity to race all distances and, just the opportunity to show up in any capacity. Like we just don't have a ton of that. So that sounds super, super fun,
We
actually.
have a lot. New
Yeah.
England is very like dense amount of racing. It's almost overkill. Like, what do
so
I choose?
cool.
Like,
We were
I
still
bet.
racing a cross-country
jealous.
season, even after having our first child. We
yeah.
still had. We're
Yeah.
still.
Which I think I put in the bio, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna
Yeah,
get
well,
off on a tangent here.
Yeah.
I'm happy to read that.
It's
Yes.
long. Sorry.
You have to read the whole
It's okay.
You
You
can
know,
paraphrase.
when you like are gonna be called on and like in class and you're like nervous to read it, so you read it over like 10 times. That's me.
Popcorn.
But
Yep.
yeah, but I get
I'll try
at some
not to do
point.
that for that exact reason. Yeah. But you're up, Olivia.
Your turn.
I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. Well, because I always get nervous, I'm just gonna butcher it. But
Okay.
a
At
lot of
least
times,
their names are easy to pronounce, so I think we're good there.
okay, that's very true. Yeah. Imagine that's the first part I mess up.
I know.
Um, so we've got Matthew and Caitlyn with us, and Matthew and Caitlyn are lifelong athletes whose paths to running success couldn't have been more different. Matthew defied odds from an early age after losing 4 fingers and a partial use of his left arm in an accident at age 3. Despite early struggles with sports, he became an Eagle Scout, a collegiate conference champion, and a 2:35 marathoner with a 1:10 half marathon PR. Most recently, he completed his second Ironman in 11:30, despite challenges with swimming and cycling balance. Caitlyn, a natural talent, was a decorated high school and collegiate runner who qualified for NCAA nationals in cross country and track. Post college, she and Matt coached a local team and both earned USATF Grand Prix titles.
So cool.
Caitlyn's own career was derailed by years of leg pain until she was finally diagnosed with popliteal artery entrapment syndrome. Is it PAYS? Or do you
Hey,
just,
yeah.
yeah. After treatment, she went from barely walking stairs to finishing the Boston Marathon in 2022. Now, a special education teacher and a mother of 3, Caitlyn has added cycling to her repertoire and is rebuilding towards her next marathon and Ironman. Matthew, head of sales for On Running in the Northeast, and Caitlyn continued to balance work, training, and family life while inspiring their 3 daughters to chase big goals of their own. Wow, you guys.
Which makes sense about the Helen Obiri On Running
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like, Kayla, you told me a little bit about your family history, like with your siblings and stuff, because you had mentioned I saw your sister had qualified for that BQ, and I was like, okay, I gotta know, like, does this run in the family? Because you were fast. I knew you were fast in high school and college, and you had a really decorated career. And I know that some of your followers probably don't know that because they're seeing you now kind of in the triathlon and then post injuries and things like that. But I was like, make no mistake, this woman is freaking fast.
Washed up,
well-
old news now, but yeah, no,
I mean, you still ran the times. That's
Yeah.
all that matters.
Yeah.
Period. We add a period to that.
before super shoes, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, make note, okay?
Yeah.
After.
I know, right? But I also love too that Matthew comes from a very pretty competitive background as well, in sports, and so it makes me very curious, like where your kids are going to end up heading out into their future,
Well,
because you guys got some genetics going on there.
Yeah.
She's one of 8. She's one of 8, so she had to
Yeah.
compete just to survive.
Yeah, and Shannon, you're one of 8 also, right?
Yes, I
Yeah,
get
so
that.
Shannon knows. Yeah, it's like you
Yeah.
grabbing the last piece of pizza and running for your life, you know? Like,
If you
"This
don't
pizza's
come downstairs
mine."
yeah, you don't come downstairs when your mom says it's dinner time, you may not be getting dinner that
You
night.
might not have a seat at the table, actually. So,
Yeah,
8
that's
tips.
true.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Well, you both came into like running from such different paths, which is I think so incredible to hear about your bio. Can you each share just like a little bit about like running, like where it first became part of your story, how you got into the sport, what that kind of looked like? Like give us a backstory of like where you are now.
Why don't you
I don't
start,
know who
Matt?
wants
'Cause
to go
I've already
first.
talked a lot, so
Yeah, yeah, no, as in the bio it said, finding a sport was challenging for me at a young age because I had so many, accommodations I had to come up with myself. And this was like before adaptive athlete was a thing, right? But running was a sport that I didn't have to have any adaptations for. So, I started to pursue that, and then got kicked off the team probably every single season because I was like so bad, being badly behaved. But then, you know, uh, a gym teacher when I was in 8th grade said, you need to let him stay on the team to focus his energy. And when they finally, like, allowed me to stay on the team in high school, and I just never looked back. I never got in trouble again. It was like so for me, like, running is the way that I corral myself and focus myself in life. It's beyond just like a sport. It's necessary for me to function. Pretty much it.
yeah, yeah. And for me, I played a lot of sports. I was like very into softball and field hockey. So I was trying out for field hockey and we had to do a 3-mile run. And I already sort of toyed with the idea of doing cross country because my cousin was doing it and he was good. And I knew the team at the high school I was at was good. But, I who runs for fun? And cross country just sounded like to me, I was like, am I running across the country? So I was like, I didn't really know what it was, but when I tried out, I was just so far ahead of everybody else at tryouts that the cross country team, the cross country coach literally like plucked me off of the tryouts and was like, "You're trying out for the wrong team. We're undefeated. We're trying to win the districts and states. Like, come to practice tomorrow." And I was like, okay, because I already had that seed planted from my cousin that I was kind of like, well, that kind of solidifies that this is what I need to do. And yeah, we went on to win a lot. It was fun, high school, and then I went on to run in college. But my relationship was a little different than him. Mine was always like I wanted to win, so it was like a little unhealthy at times and like a little stressful at times, not so much as like this sort of coping mechanism. I actually probably needed coping mechanisms from running, like so like the opposite. But yeah, it was definitely like and that coach has passed away, but he like changed the trajectory of my life in such powerful ways. Yeah, so that's kind of how I started. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was second to last in my first race.
Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I
my
can't
gosh.
I didn't win my
I
first race, but I wasn't second to last.
I got I got beat by a football player who was just doing track for conditioning.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
It's like a therapy session. We're gonna like air out all of our childhood.
Childhood traumas. We should rebrand this episode name. Matthew, you talked about. Do you go by Matt or Matthew, by the way?
Most people actually call me Matthew, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I call him Matthew. I have a brother Matt, so that's how I decipher between the two.
Okay. Just
There
making
or
sure.
and who is also a runner, and they used to race against each other pretty competitively. So I needed to decipher. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Matthew, with your early like accidents, like how did that shape like the way you perceived like sports, like being competitive and things like that, and getting into it at a more like in depth level? Because you were training for Ironman, right? And then you ended up
Mhm,
competing in that. Are
mhm.
you training for Worlds? Are you?
No, no, no. That's actually a really funny story. The
Oh.
no, so I mean, the Iron Man was like a thing that I saw on TV when I was 12 years old and just knew I wanted to do it someday. It was like I don't know if you've ever seen something and you're just, "I'm doing this." Even though it didn't
Yeah.
really make a lot of sense. I couldn't swim. I like, um, but I just knew I wanted to do it. And then when we got to a position that I could, I did it. It's actually a really good story
Yeah.
too.
So we handshook on it. Like, can I have another baby? Can I do an Ironman? Yes.
So I wanted to, yeah,
I love that.
I had gotten a new position at work that was going to allow me to do it, and I like told her that I want if I do this, it's going to be a lot. So like, I want your support. And then she was like, "Well, there's something I want too." I hadn't been doing
Oh
it.
my gosh.
So
Yeah.
it
I love
was like, so I signed up for the marathon in October of 2022. The race was
I got pregnant in October of
the
2022.
race was July.
Are you serious?
The race was
She took
July
his
of
word.
2023. She was born in June.
She was 3 weeks old at the race. Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
So,
her
but
Miss
it's
Liam
like very funny because, he's like so tired training for an Ironman. I'm like, I'm rowing a human. Okay.
Yeah.
Shannon's nodding her head like, I know. I'm like, I'm growing human. I don't care about your bike ride.
Empathy is
I don't
low.
make you food.
Oh my gosh.
I did actually qualify for Worlds last
Yeah.
year,
Yeah, in the half. Yeah.
but it was a farce. The race I went to, they took out the swim,
Okay.
and once you take the swim, so
Yeah.
back then it was based on place. So I did very, very well. But
Yeah, they've changed the qualifying
yeah,
rules now.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, because he can't extend his arm all the way, the swim is like
Yeah.
he's like significantly
I'm in the
handicapped
back
to
like
swim.
1/3 of the race.
Yeah. Like he's
Yeah.
like second to last out of the water, but it's fun because then he can just keep catching up to other
Yeah,
people.
I'm
Yeah.
Yes.
back 20%, back 20% in the swim, top 20% on the run, in the bike, and then like top 2% in the run. So
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's just really cool because you're defying kind of like all odds of like what you probably thought was in your future with all the setbacks and all the hurdles you've had to overcome in sports. What made you overcome like this, like all these hurdles that you had to, juggle and get over? What made you finally be like, I'm gonna give myself a shot in like the triathlon? Like it's such a it's a hard sport. I'm sorry. Like most people are like, oh, the marathon's hard. I'm like, the Ironman is hard.
also, training for a marathon's harder, and then training for like a marathon and being a mom and doing all that is much harder. I'll tell you right now. Like, but in terms, maybe my story is not that interesting. Like, I knew I was gonna do it. Like, I knew I want to do it. I'm not. I don't like. I'm not very comfortable with things that maybe people don't think are possible for me. Like, maybe
Yeah.
too unhealthy to
Yeah,
go.
if you want to get him to do something, it's very easy. You just tell him he can't.
I love that.
Very, very
love
easy.
that.
There's like a child in there that was told he couldn't do something that
Mhm.
I can pull that trigger anytime. I try not to do that, but if you want to get him to do something, all you have to do is say you can't, and he will do it. So you can't be a millionaire.
Caitlyn,
You see me sitting on money. That's why.
I was like, Caitlyn, you should use that about your next baby. You can't get me pregnant again.
I know. Well, that one we know. We don't have a problem with that. We have a problem with not accidentally getting pregnant. But no, he's hard to convince on that one. He's confident it can happen. He just doesn't want it to. I'm getting a little too old though. At this point, I feel like I wouldn't want to be worried about all the potential side effects because you do
Yeah.
get older, like you
Yeah.
like to say age is not a limiting factor, but when it comes to
It
like
is.
health of your
Yeah.
eggs and egg reserves and stuff like that, I am like reaching a point where like he just buys me like something like a bike or something and is like, well, if the more fit she gets, the less likely she's gonna want to have another baby. So he's like, let's get you really fit. Like, so no, that's kind of a joke, but also a little true. But yeah, that window is definitely like I've said, like 42 is like my hard stop. So unless I get pregnant, like in the next few months, like the accident, like, then that door is definitely closed. But you have to stop riding his bike long enough to get a vasectomy to ensure that it's closed. So
I love it.
Listen, that is a quick recovery. You've had babies, you know.
you don't understand. He needs to work out every day though, or he's not functional. So one day off will be a hard. I mean, he's got the broken foot now, so now would be the
I
time.
was gonna say, I
know.
mean, honestly, that broken toe probably came at the best possible time considering
Yeah.
your post-marathon. So if there was any time to break a toe, it was when you're supposed to be recovering. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
We did actually joke about that. It's a good timing if there ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little sign just to recover for a minute. So,
Totally.
well, Caitlin, so talk to us a little bit about pays. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know
So
if you.
I, have popliteal artery entrapment syndrome. So your popliteal
Mhm.
artery is the artery that goes like right behind the back of the knee, and that everything that converges behind the knee is called the popliteal fossa. And
Mhm.
so I have a condition that probably isn't as rare as they think, but it's very, very hard to diagnose, where my calf muscles, when they flex, like put pressure on the artery, and over time that artery has had damage, the nerve has had damage, and when I got to a point where I had no blood flow reaching my legs, I had no feeling in my feet. And so like it's sort of, I can look back and see like I had signs of this probably in my early teens, but I didn't really ever train over the summer, so I think I let things sort of recover. It's very closely related to compartment syndrome, but that's like a whole, that I could do a whole podcast on how that's misdiagnosed and misunderstood. But I won't. So, but basically when I plantar flex, I block the blood flow to my legs and to my feet, and I block the vein as well. So initially, when you're blocking the vein, the blood is getting stuck in the lower legs. So I'm getting a lot of pressure and shin pain. All that stuff I would manage with like lower mileage, cross training, all of that. And I dealt with that for a very, very long time. For shorter distances, it worked because I didn't need that high volume. But when I switched to the marathon, it became like so hard to get to a starting line without pulling my calf or having such bad shin pain that I was like limping. And I would limp through all my runs because, back then I was kind of brought up on the pain, no gain type of
Yes.
motto. And also, like, when that's your lived experience the whole time, you just assume it's normal. So it had been normalized over time. So I just, took a really long time to get that diagnosis because when you sit in a machine, you're not flexing your legs, so they don't see any problem. But it got to the point where I couldn't feel my feet. I was pulling my calf, standing on my toes to reach the top shelf. It was very obvious something was wrong, but nobody could pinpoint what it was. But I couldn't run 30 seconds without pulling my calf. It was pretty bad. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
and I had tried to train for marathons all through this. Like, I'm going to use the bike and then I run this once a week, and in hindsight, it was very obvious there was a much deeper problem. But when you're going to see PT, they're telling me do calf raises. Guess what's really bad for when your calf is pinching your artery? Calf raises.
Oh, yeah.
And then the pandemic, it got very bad because my PT had said, if you want to run a marathon, I was qualified for Boston. If you want to run a marathon, you need to be able to do 30 single leg calf raises. I couldn't do 2, but I was like, I'm going to do
Wow.
30. So every day, twice a day, I would try to do 30 single leg calf raises, which was just making the problem way worse. So I
Yeah.
really dug a giant hole trying to fix the problem. And that's why I have to unfollow a lot of PTs because I'm still a little borderline
Yeah.
traumatized. I'm like, don't just automatically assume it's good, okay? But so now we ended up going to Wyoming. During the pandemic, it was wide open in Wyoming, but Boston, I had doctor's appointments lined up. I had a doctor, tell me I might lose my legs. I've got the worst. I had people
Wow.
telling me I might have brain aneurysms. I was checked for everything, Um, so it's pretty traumatic because also the world is shut down and Boston was heavily hit because it's so dense here that I couldn't get follow-up appointments. So I found this webinar and this doctor in Wyoming. And so we flew out to Wyoming in the middle of a pandemic where they didn't even think there was anything happening out there. So like it was like a different world out there. So
It's so
I was able
true.
to get the treatment I needed, you know. And so he has like this procedure where you press against something during the CT so that he can scan it. And I had no blood getting to my feet.
Jeez.
Complete compression of the nerve, artery, vein. Well, he can't really check the nerve, but because I had no feeling in my feet, it was clear there was nerve. And then he injected Botox into the areas that were flexing and causing that. So then there was no blockage, but now I had this whole other problem where I've got like partially paralyzed legs. So like I can't walk and run. So then I'm pulling my calf anyways because I'm overloading the other parts. So it's been like a long journey. Yeah.
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 Well,
Wow,
I
that's
mean,
tough.
on the plus side though of it all, you still ran the Boston Marathon, and I think that's the craziest part is you talk about your husband being the type of person that like when somebody tells him he can't do something, he's gonna go do it. I see
Yeah.
a lot of that in yourself too. Like you're like, "Oh, you're going to tell me I can never walk again. You're going to tell me I'm going to lose my legs. I'm going to show you otherwise." Like there's like a sorts of like I notice this in a lot of really competitive athletes, and I'm not talking just like you have to be this high caliber pro runner. Like any athlete that's competitive at nature, they have this sense of like delusional hopefulness.
Yeah.
And I think like that's truly like what fuels us to keep going. It's the what if. What if I can find a solution? What if I can make it past that hurdle and get on the other side of it? And we see that in your story because you ran Boston Marathon, going from never
Yeah.
not sure if you'll ever walk again to now you're crossing 26.2 miles on a very prestigious course. Like it's not an easy course. Um is there ever like a point like in that process when you got on that start line, like what did that feel like crossing that finish line? Like was it such a different experience versus past races that you've ever
Yeah.
ran?
So Olivia, I know you had just done like a slower marathon with your friend, and I'm just like nodding along because it took me 5.5 hours to do the Boston Marathon,
It
you know, and I
did?
was a
Oh my
3 hour marathoner, so it was very hard. So
Yeah.
I was kind of nodding along. So I hadn't really run for like 2.5 years. I qualified with like a 3:20 something right before the pandemic, and that was like I only ran like maybe 2 or 3 times a week to get that qualifier. And
Crazy.
again, like why it wasn't hitting me that something was
Oh my
seriously
gosh.
wrong, like I can't explain. It's just like the breadcrumbs to get me to believing that everything's fine. I don't know. But I qualified, and then because of the pandemic, my qualifying time kept getting pushed back. So every time the registration came seemed to be an upswing where I had like hope that my legs were getting better or somebody gave me a false diagnosis, but I believed it. So I'd register and then they would cancel it again. And then I'd be like, well, that's good because it didn't work. And then I'd do it again. And so it's like this total like tidal wave, like just up and down, up and down. And then I finally like missed that October Boston Marathon, which I thought was the last one I would qualify for. And I was like, phew, I can stop thinking about this. I'm never going to do it. It's fine. You know, I lived in this area. We live in Massachusetts. Every single person that finds out I'm a runner, the immediate question is, have you done Boston?
Oh my
Immediate,
god, I bet.
like, and I'm like, no, I ran at the NCAA championships, but they're like, well, did
Way
you do
bigger deal.
did you do Boston? And I'm like,
But okay.
no. So I've tried to get the monkey off my back for quite a bit of time, but I'm injured all the time because I have this condition. So, you know, when I had registered and not been able to enter at this point, maybe like 6 times, because the 4 times from the pandemic and the 2 previous marathons I did that I got injured during training. So just to get to the starting line, and I almost didn't go because I was in pain. It would like didn't make sense. Like, what am I doing? I can't even run 7 straight minutes. I'm still walking. But my friend who had worked for 10 years to qualify, she was like, I'm going to be there. Just come in the corral with me. Let's just start it together. And we didn't even start in a wave. We like waited till everyone passed and I just walked across the
Well,
line,
and we went
you know?
and
That's
we
so
actually went
awesome.
out to Wyoming for a treatment just 2 months before
Five,
to
six,
try to
6 weeks,
Wow.
6 weeks before.
that was insane.
Because I was still like, it hadn't worked yet.
We
It
were
was still like a problem. So I was like, not sure if it was working, you know? Like,
it was
Yeah.
crazy. So we flew to Wyoming for her to get a treatment. then, like, my company did the expo, so I worked, like, 90 hours that week. It was Easter Sunday,
Wow.
That was pretty
Oh
like,
crazy.
my gosh.
then she ran the race, and then I had to fly to DC for work.
Yeah.
It was like the if you want it was like
Crazy.
That's how we are. We just put too much sometimes, but like,
but, I mean,
wow. I don't know.
the moment, though, that she was finished and she accomplished was like it was like the eye of a storm, you know?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was this just beautiful calmness that we did it, and then, like, the storm just started.
But like in the
Um,
race, I like, at that point I had accepted I might not finish. But
Yeah.
every time I had done 9 miles of walk running in the training, and that was as far as I got. It took me like 2 hours to do that. So I was like, 2.5 hours. Jack Daniels says it's good. We're good. Let's do this. And that was as far as I got. And it was like I had no business even running 9 miles yet because I had no time to really train. And this is why sometimes I defend people when they do these things
Yeah.
that they're not like, you don't know what people have gone through. Like, this is literally could be my last chance. And I have enough of a background that I can do this dumb thing in the smartest way I can on the day.
Yeah.
So I walk ran. And when I got to mile 9, I was like, I have not gone this far in maybe 4 years. So it
Wow.
was like 3.5, 4 years. So I was like, everything after that was like celebration. And at that point, people were passing me enough and it had slowed down enough that I wasn't feeling like overwhelmed with the amount of people blowing by me. It had kind of where I was like in the charity runners where people were like walk running a little bit, like what is that, Framingham? Framingham was probably like the maybe hardest section was like that ugly train. You guys haven't done it yet. So that section's like not pretty, but I had done so many training runs there in the past that like I was then pulling from memories of the time I had to stop to retie my shoe because I didn't understand why I couldn't feel my foot. So it's having like reliving all these memories of trying to get to this race that I failed. And like I was like, I'm like rewriting these memories now. And it was like, it was awesome. It was really like, it's funny that the slowest marathon by far I've ever run was like so powerful for me because it was so hard. And people will never see the journey that it took to get there,
you guys must
you know?
with Boston, New York, things you have to qualify. You guys must talk to a lot of moms that, their path must be not linear, like,
Yep.
and that they
Yeah.
had to do it with no training because they got I imagine you come across that a lot.
Well, the mom that you had on the other day with the 6 kids, and she had her child, well, they already told that story, but like her child was in the hospital and had to have surgery. Like you just never know what people are going through. So, just do the best you can with the cards you've been dealt. And so I just like I edited that picture so it was only me crossing the line because that's what it felt like. It felt like I
Yeah.
won today. So and then like it was just really like it made and it was like just such a we went through so much to get there because obviously like I was very depressed and I was not the person he married and he stood by me and we spent a boatload of money to do this. This is not covered by insurance. Like this is
Yeah.
expensive. Like this is
Yeah.
our entire life savings and then some.
Absolutely.
He got promotions, like he worked his butt off so that and never batted an eye. And when I tell you, the guy I go to, his building would make anybody feel scared because it looks like a tower from the Lord of the Rings. Like I'm walking into a cult right now, like,
Oh my
and he
gosh.
was just like, "Here we go." She says she wants to try it, and I'm getting Botox injected into my leg. Like this is not normal, Like
I just looked up if you could write it off your taxes.
that's how much money we spent. Is that we
Write
got
that
to
shit up.
Yeah.
It's like we gotta get this amount, so keep going.
But that's why like Tara Gelcher is like I admire her so much and she like really helped me so much because she got Botox also. So then I was like, see, there's validity here. And it made me just feel like seen a little bit because so many people are like, why would you go through and spend all that money, spend all that time, sacrifice all of that only to do 5:34,
It's just such a testament to why why it's so important to know that that's a victory lap, and I think people say it over and over, and like, the message really gets lost so easily, but it's like, it's hard to fully put into perspective, like, how hard people really work to get to that start line, and, like, what a full circle moment all of that is, and it is so incredible. It just sounds like that race had so much more meaning to it. I just think it's so incredible, like, the way that this was your story, but you're actively doing it throughout motherhood, and, like, that's interwoven into your children's lives, which is incredible, and that's what's so powerful about these things, and for both of you that you've had, like, adversity that you've had to face, and that your kids, they don't just have to hear, like, "Oh, when things get hard, we figure it out and push through." Like, you've actively shown that to them time and time again with both of your stories and how they've woven together and then in turn will transfer over into their lives, and that's what's so powerful about this.
Yeah, when our oldest daughter went to rock climbing camp and she won the, like, perseverance award, and for me, that was like, I don't care if you're the worst rock climber in the entire gym. Like, the fact that you won this is
Which she's not, but
no, she's
Okay.
very good, actually.
Wow,
like,
incredible.
this means a lot to your mom and dad,
That's
Well,
really
and then
Yeah.
also on top of it, like, to Caitlin, probably isn't gonna talk about this, but I'll say it, like, not only did she go through the journey herself, she, out of her own time, has helped
Yeah,
dozens, like,
times.
I can't even tell you how, like, I would argue that probably more people have been able to get the diagnosis for PAYS or get the right
Mhm,
treatment than over the last, like, few years than ever before just because of she would blog about it. Like,
mhm,
she'll come home from work and she'll just be talking to some person that she doesn't even know to, like, guide them.
mhm.
So,
I wish I
she's
could give more guidance, but, I try to be the person I wish I had, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, there's no real good solution for it yet, so we're a little
yeah.
bit guinea pigs for it, but yeah, I've had
she's taken her journey and supported so many others.
yeah,
That's amazing.
That's
Is
so
it
awesome.
more common than we
yes.
think? Okay.
Wow.
I'm 100% convinced. So I think when you don't make it progress to the level that I had from doing all the calf raises, most
Mhm.
people probably just stop running. you know?
Interesting.
Okay.
So they probably stop before it gets to a point. So if you hear people that are like, "Oh, I try to run, but I just like pull my calves a lot," they probably have it. And it just
Oh.
hasn't advanced to the
Or
level
or
that
they
I
get
pushed myself to, not knowing. Um,
Mhm.
or they get they get surgery for
for
compartment
compartment
syndrome.
syndrome. Uh,
Yeah.
so they're
Yeah.
closely related, but
Oh.
so their symptoms are the same, either that or compartment syndrome is diagnosed as tight fascia.
Yeah.
But really what it most likely is from my doctor's research that he published, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, is that the vein is entrapped. So the tight compartments, they're just compartments that have pressure in them from the blood not getting back up. So compartment syndrome is like phase one of popliteal artery entrapment. Then when the artery gets entrapped, now you're in trouble because your muscles are not getting blood and nutrients and all of that. So
Yeah.
there's like varying degrees. And so I've gone to his webinar like multiple times just in case he teaches something else. At this point, I want a cut of whatever he's getting. Like, like, can I at least get free treatment? No, which I,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, unfortunately, like there is surgical options available, but the surgeries do not go very well either.
It's a
Um,
40%
it's
rate.
like 52%
Oh.
success,
So it's
and
still pretty low. Yeah.
low, and people have lost their legs because of the surgery.
Oh
Because it's like
Wow.
my.
you stay overnight. It's not like a normal surgery. It's not like it's
Mhm.
very invasive. They do like a vein graft. Different doctors do it different ways because they still don't really know what the best way to do it. So some people are getting stents, some people are getting vein grafts, some people are, like just getting the soleus sling, the back of the calf completely removed, which if you're removing that, you're also going to lose a lot of mobility anyway, so it's not even that great of an option.
Mm.
And then it's highly dependent on the doctor. So I kind of have like doctors written down for people that are gun ho on surgery, and I have some people in my that I follow that follow me that have had successful surgeries, but they're not
Mhm.
like competitive, like super competitive runners all the time. There is one that's like a triathlete, but again, that's the thing with triathlon that's nice is that when you're running every day, you're kind of putting that pressure on that artery all the time. But cycling doesn't have that same impact. So it's
Got it.
and swimming is basically none. So you can take some recovery days between the running and it makes it a little bit more possible. But I think the level of running that I was used to, I probably can never go back to training like 6 days a week, 5 days a week
Yeah.
even. Like I think if I could get to 4 days a week, that's like, well, like way more than I ever expect. So that's like really not a goal of mine, which is why I've kind of made this shift to like try to do triathlon. Like, yes, the Ironman is hard, but I would agree with him. Like, running is harder on your body
Yeah.
than cycling and swimming. So,
Mm.
in that sense, having those other modalities has been like really nice. And I was really resistant to it, like, really resistant. I was like, no, it's going to be running or nothing. And like,
Yeah.
wait, it was nothing, like, so, but I've come around. I've come around.
I love it.
Well, it comes back to that perseverance, right? Like that Olivia was just talking about. Like there is something within like you guys where you're like, well, I have that competitive nature, I have that competitive drive. I want to fulfill that in some sense, in some way. And I love that you're a prime example of how you guys are able to pivot with your battles in life. Like, with both of you, you both have had setbacks and hurdles that could have very well made you feel like, oh, well, I'm just not meant for sports. But instead, you pivoted, you accepted where your weaknesses were or where your struggles were, and you made the best of it. I couldn't even imagine somebody be like, "Well, the only way that you can be competitive is through triathlon." And I was like, "I'm just not a good swimmer, okay?" When I got injured with my knee injury,
Yeah,
I
me
was
either.
working I was working with this guy and he was like, "Oh, sweetheart," he's like, "You need to stay on land." And he was so funny because it was so true. I was sloppy, I was messy, I was drinking water as I was swimming, and he's like, "You're not doing this right." But the fact that you guys take that on as your challenge, you're like, okay, well, I can't do it my way, but I'm gonna figure out how I can still be competitive and find that joy in life and make the most of what I do have going for me. And that's very, very inspiring. Caitlin, you mentioned you ran a 5+ hour marathon, and people may wonder why you did that, but I think anybody that's gonna listen to this story is gonna be like, wow, like, I understand why you did that. You had a whole history of running your whole entire life where at a very high caliber, I could not even imagine ever walking away from it completely. Like it's a identity crisis almost. You go through this identity crisis and I've been there, with those 11 years that I was away from running. You're almost like, who am I outside of running? Who am I? And where is my joy in life if it's not through the sport that I love so much? But you got to cross that finish line. And I think if anybody that is listening to that, your message, both of you, your message is perseverance. Your message is hope. Your message is pivoting and making the best of what you do have ahead of you. And I don't know, I get chills the fact that you got to cross that finish line in whatever. It could have been 10 hours. I don't freaking care. Like,
I thought it might have been. I
yeah.
thought I was
I
planning
bet.
on staying out there because, I don't know if you guys know, Tommy Ribs.
Mhm.
So Tommy Ribs went through all of his, health things around the same time, and obviously his way more extreme, right? He was on his
Death
deathbed.
door.
Mhm.
And like there were times that we thought he wasn't alive. But when I saw him do New York and it took him like just under 10 hours, I was like, I'm gonna do this. And I will
Mhm.
watch the whole thing because I need a win. I need a win. I've just
Yeah.
tried like so much. And then, you talk about your 11 years, you can lose yourself to motherhood. And then I'm not even being a good mother because I don't even have the outlet that I have.
Yeah.
They're seeing me like when you're in chronic pain, the tolerance you have for people is way lower. And then because my chronic pain dealt with walking and I've got toddlers, I'm yelling a lot more because I don't want to move and get down to their level. So like, I wasn't good at being a mother, but that was kind of all I had. It was in the middle of a pandemic and teaching was a nightmare and everyone hated teachers because we weren't back at teaching and we're wearing masks and it's like
Yes.
very hard. I gained a ton of weight because I was now sedentary and I didn't even move at my job because I'm sitting down at my job. I complete loss of identity in motherhood and I'm not even good at it. Like
I
it's
mean,
like
I think it's, you know, running is a fundamental, I mean, movement is a fundamental human need. And,
Mhm.
I tell new parents all the time, women and men, like, don't think that sacrificing that in your life is going to improve your family situation. It's
Yeah.
actually going to make it worse. You
Mhm.
know, like the company, our mission statement is ignite the human spirit through movement. And it's like, I'm very lucky because I can like, my company's mission statement is like very similar to my own personal one. And because
Mhm.
it's your spirit will wither away if you don't have access to the movement you prefer.
Yeah.
That's my personal belief.
Yeah, and so, like, in our
Absolutely.
relationship and in our parenting and everything, we've really prioritized that so much, and obviously, like, those were really dark years when I couldn't be a part of it, and to be honest, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, he always wanted to do, like, the triathlon, but him making the shift, like, we kind of met as runners, we were runners together, so I felt like an outsider
Mhm.
of my own life, and I didn't wanna do the cycling because that still felt like an outsider of my own. So when
Mhm.
he made the switch to that, it was like, okay, well, he's in this life now, and maybe I could be in this life too. And I do think that part of him did it because he knew I needed to make a switch too. And I didn't want to do it alone, and it was very hard. I needed like a push. It's not like when you're depressed, you are not motivated, like you don't
No.
make good decisions. Your decision is like, how can I get to the end of this day and then be
Mhm.
done, like,
Yeah, there's not a tax write-off for doing triathlons, unfortunately. So that's another reason.
yeah,
Dang
yeah.
it.
They're very expensive.
I
Yeah,
know.
so, like, him making the switch, and then for me to have the goal to be an Ironman when he did his first one, I'm standing there with, like, my 3-week-old baby at the water, watching my husband, who I know had, like, a little bit of trauma with learning to swim, just be out in this water swimming, like, just going for it, has kinda no business being out there, to be honest. Like, he's, like, really no offense, sorry, so let me just go with this, okay? But, like, when he first signed up, we were like, "Will you even make the swim cutoff?" And we're like, I don't really know," like, and I'm holding this baby, and I'm finally kinda coming around because, the baby kinda interrupted my treatment, but worth it. But, I don't know, I hadn't had enough of the treatment to know what's on the other side for me yet, and I still
Mhm.
don't know. I'm kinda going through that now, but, I'm holding that baby, and I'm thinking to myself that, what could I do if he can just get out there and do that? What could I do? And then I'm watching the run at night in the dark. He's long since finished. There are people, they're walk running. That's me. They're walk
Yeah.
running. I can walk run. I already know I can do that. I did that at Boston. So now I'm like, okay, I can't run anymore, but I could walk run and I could maybe finish something that nobody thinks is possible for me. And most people that don't even have the condition going on that I have also don't think it's possible for themselves. It's such a huge thing. It's
Yeah.
112 miles of biking, 2.4 swim, 112-mile bike, and then a 26.2-mile run. All of those things individually are very, very hard. But seeing him do that, um, was just like, and then seeing him go through the process of getting the bike fitting because his arm can't straighten. So in aero, like, you're much more comfortable, but he couldn't reach his fuel because you'd have to know, but tri bikes are a lot less stable.
Yeah.
So for him to reach his fuel. So like seeing him kind of troubleshoot all those things, I was like, well, I can do that. I could do that. What's wrong with me that I won't try just because I'm sad that I can't run or work out the way I want to? So he really inspired me.
I think similar to like me going to Wyoming and all that, it's like we drove to New Jersey to get a specialized bike fitting. She let me go to Florida for
Swim
a
with the
week
manatees.
where I swam 3 times a day. I did an intensive. It's like
Wow.
to that point, like, and I think you have like a lot of active parents and your listeners. It's like I don't think again this is my life, so I'm not gonna distill my values on anyone else's, but I don't know if I personally don't know of anything you can do more supportive of your partner than allow them to move the way they want. Like,
Yeah.
so if when there was something in the way of her being able to do it or something, it's not a question.
It will
It's
never
not a
be
debate.
something we fight over. It will never.
Yeah.
Like, we might fight over other things, like, but we have never once.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless he's running with a broken toe. We would find out. Okay, you should probably not. Like, or if he decides to ride his bike through an ice storm, which he probably has done before, I'm like, maybe don't do that. Like, maybe don't die. The fight isn't over the movement. The fight is over not being smart.
Maybe I think in the middle of our fights, we probably tell each other, "Go do something."
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Go get out the
A
door.
lot.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go take care of this energy you have going on. You know? I'll work out. It's gonna be a rough couple weeks around here because he's hurt. I'm hurt. It's all
Yeah, I bet. Well,
Fighting goes
actually,
up.
that is the perfect segue. I think when we talk about like when you weren't able to run and stuff like that, I think that's a lot of people's reality that they just don't have the time and the motivation and things like that. But since considering you guys are both working full-time professionals and your parents to 3 kids, 3 girls, how can you talk about the actual balance that you guys have? Because you both sound super supportive of each other. It sounds like you have an amazing partnership with that. And I will say that that is a conversation I have with a lot of moms, is that there is just not as much support, or it's very hard to find the actual time to get out and run. And that's one parent. So with 2 parents being like working and in training, I mean, this is like real training, like Ironman training is
And
that's
traveling.
yeah, and traveling. So can you just talk about the balance and just kind of the lifestyle that you guys encompass with that?
Well, first of all, like, I do think that both of us working in some ways helps because when you're the stay-at-home parent, I did it for a whopping 1 year, so I know this now. When you're a stay-at-home parent, you don't have a very set clock in, clock out time. And so we kind of talk about the busier, like the more dialed in your schedule is with like your like obligations to work, like to keep the roof over your head, like to bring the paycheck in, the easier it is to figure out exactly where you have to fit in the workout. And when you're a stay-at-home parent, you kind of like have to be flexible to everybody else's needs, which might make it harder for stay-at-home parents to get it in. But both of us work full time. I think actually because he's the work from home, he kind of gets the brunt of it and just works around me more because I am not getting up early, especially I have this condition. I don't have anything to prove to anybody, okay? I'm not getting up early, okay? I will if I absolutely have to, but he does more of like the moving around my schedule because he's a stay-at-home, he's working from home and his meetings are kind of like sometimes he'll get a longer break here where he might be able to hop on the Peloton downstairs or things like that. But I just want to make sure it's clear that like even though we're both working parents, that doesn't necessarily make it harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a scarcity of any resource, but scarcity of time almost becomes efficiency because it's like, this is the only hour I have to do this. This is so it's either happening right now or it's not happening. But I think I would add that like just kind of like three ingredients that are necessary, I would say. Like one is like each other's workout is non-negotiable. This isn't a negotiating chip. Like each one of us have to do everything we can to make sure that time happens for the other person. 2, even though it's not negotiable, you also have to be like flexible. I've heard you guys talk a little bit about flexibility. I think that's every working parent, right? And then lastly, it's like it's not everyone's gonna have this, but like a foundational part of your life. If movement and activity is a foundational part of your family's life, it sort of just folds into everything.
Yeah. Sorry, speaking of movement, our kids just came parading through here. So they haven't had
It's a podcast for moms, so we're used to the noise.
They'll probably wake up the baby who that's fine. Yeah, so I agree with that. And I think like the other thing for us too, it's non-negotiable, but also we had kind of our moment in the sun, I guess. Like both of us are on the other side of like, we still want to achieve big goals, but the bigger goal for us is like us doing it together and being able to like coordinate all these schedules and just make it happen, even if it's like not a PR or whatever. I am not in PR range anytime soon. So I think it's very easy for me to be like, I'm just going to stretch as my workout today because that's probably what I need, or like, but we've done quite a bit this year, but our peak performance, if you will, needs to be at different times. So his Ironman had to be the priority when he was doing that. I still was
Yeah.
training during that time, but I was gonna always let him go first if we were short on time. And then after that, I like did a big bike ride. I did like a century ride, and so it's tough because sometimes they overlap a little bit at the end. Like when tapering, that's when I'm starting to get to that spot. So it kind of
Yeah.
aligns, but his stress level's very high because he's in taper mode or whatever. But just trying to time out where your goals are, and we try to kind of get things aligned that way so that neither of us are in that like peak mode at the same time. And that's worked out pretty well. And again, I do think like the triathlon makes it a little bit more flexible, because you can switch things out easy. We do have a gym downstairs. We're spoiled. We got like the treadmill, we got that bike, we got lifting. I have the lever to lift me up on the treadmill so I can,
Awesome.
we've made
That's
sure
so
to
nice.
set up our life where we have the things we need,
Mhm.
that we can do it at home as well.
Is
That's
that
I think
is that kind of is that what it looks like? So when he's on a trip, right, and you're home with the kids, what does your training look like then? Like how Matthew, how are you able to fit it in on like a work trip? And then Caitlyn, how are you able to fit it in solo parenting? I'm so curious what that dynamic looks like in your training week.
I'm scrolling Strava swearing. No, just kidding. I'm like, oh, nice. I see where you are right now, Lucky. No,
Must be nice.
right? No kids. Cool, cool. No, but a lot of times his travel seems to be more like it's frequent, but the big ones, like right now, I almost never have a lot going on in November. I come from cross country season ends in November, and I kind of let it go until the end of the year and just like do like things to stay
Yeah.
busy. It's tough in May and June. That's when it's really tough.
She's very inventive. She finds ways to do it
Yeah.
all the time. Like I'll be on a trip and I'll get a picture of, the middle child on a bike and the other one in a stroller and the other one's at rock climb. Like
Yeah, a lot of times I use the stroller, and I just, if they're at dance, I can get it in. I just figure out. So I really shoot for like 3 to 4 days of like quality workouts, not quality like you guys would call them, like a workout. I mean
Yeah.
quality, like I actually did more than just stretched and like bent down and touched my toes today. So I work out every day, but there are days where it's literally like I stretched and foamed rolled, and I count that because of the I do streaks of just working out physically or mentally because I feel like my depression that I went through, I'm so scared of sliding back there. And it's very easy for me to take a day and then take another, take another, take another. So I have kind of learned for myself that even like clocking a 10-minute, 15-minute stretch keeps me engaged enough that when I feel more mentally stable, I will be able to stay locked in. But I shoot for 3 or 4. So when they go to dance, I'll take the baby in the stroller. When they're at the rock climbing gym, I'll drive to the other gym and jump in the pool and drop the baby off at the daycare. We are very lucky and privileged that we live close enough to a lot of like things that can help us. My mom is close by. We don't utilize her too much anymore. We did when we had just one kid.
So again, it's just part of our lives. Like we'll hire a babysitter just to do
I
something.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
love
So
that.
that's the good thing about coming from big families is I'm one of the older, so I have younger siblings who aren't like quite in their professional career yet. So babysitting is like good money for them, and
Yeah.
they're coming to hang out with their nieces.
Yeah, we're not.
So if there's a weekend where we missed a day, like today we've kind of been all over the place, but like whatever Halloween, the kids had something, we'll go out together and do a bike ride or something. So we try. It's like kind of chaos in motion, but yeah, when he's gone, I just kind of pick a couple days to target. Usually there are 2 weekends and then the days that they have extracurriculars that kind of take a couple kids off my hands.
Yeah.
So that I can get something.
Yeah, and I'm just very fortunate that industry that I'm in, sometimes a run is often part of the meeting schedule. So I'm
That's
cool.
awesome.
less.
Yeah. And I am a teacher, so like I do have summers off. So I try to set goals that align with the teaching schedule as well, which, that summers are not they're busy for other reasons. So they're not always the easiest. But
the kids are home
but
too.
the kids are home, which is like great because we don't have anywhere to be, but also they're home. So it's like, so, just like trying to balance all the things. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys planners, like you plan out the night before, or are you weekly, monthly planners, like, okay, this is gonna be when my long run is, you fit yours in like that, or how do you guys do it?
Chaos.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
Planner, I try and I fail,
but
but
it's more like,
Yeah.
hey, these things need to get done. It may happen at a different day or time. This is right
Mhm.
now the day and time that seems the best, but it may not stay that way.
I think
Yeah.
like the kids' schedules kind of lock us into a couple reliable days, and then we kind of
Mhm.
pieces on the other
I
days.
can't say enough, like, to your listeners that, you know, I know it's like a weird thing to say, but scarcity of time is sometimes your ally.
It
Mhm.
is.
And
That's so
We
true.
fit it in when we can fit it in.
it's like, eh, yeah, it's hey, you got to find that slot.
I think like an example
Well,
too,
who are
like
you listening to? Rachel,
Rachel Shulkowski, she was just on the
Yeah.
Rambling Run.
she runs
Oh,
it.
Yeah,
yeah.
she was good.
She's like local to us.
Her
Yeah.
husband goes to work
Oh,
at
yeah.
6 at 4:30. She's like,
Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
doing
it
it.
sucks
Yeah.
to get up at 4 in the morning, but this is the only time I have, so this is when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, we've done some crazy things with Shan. I know you see this, like, 4th of July, I knew he wanted to, my kids, like, think that this is a tradition, so now, like, we're locked into it, that they go to this beach where my husband swims, and I ride my bike there, he swims, and then, like, maybe he'll ride his bike back. One year I rode my bike back. So it's like 30
I
miles from the
love
house.
that.
Like, maybe I'll do a longer one day. But like one year, I think when I was training for a triathlon, my first and probably only one, I rode my bike home. I swam there and rode my bike home, and he drove there and swam. So we kind of like try to work things in. Like we have like this little bike club that we do with the kids. I usually am like riding my bike there and he's running home. Like as long as we've got a car that can put a bike on it, like
Yeah.
somebody's running, somebody's biking. Not all of us are in the car at the same time. So we're
Yeah.
always like using it as part of a commute. I think we were like commuting, like we were on a trip for his work up in Rochester, New York, which is like 10-hour drive from where we are. So I had to do like an 80-mile bike ride that day. That's going to take me like 5 hours. I'm like, I don't want to stay in the car for 5 hours and then go do this.
She
So I
rode
rode my bike
to
and
the
then he
next
took him to like a museum on the other side. So I like rode my bike 80 miles. We mapped it out and I was like, well, I'll see you after this. Hopefully I don't get a flat tire, huh?
Oh my goodness.
So like we kind of try to build it into like, yeah, when the time is tight. And sometimes I
Yeah.
think we kind of get like a little bit of a rise out of like how much can we fit in? Like we're a little
Yeah.
bit we're like, can we do this? Like, okay, I rode my bike here 80 miles. Now you were at the museum with them. You saw the lower floor. I'm gonna take them to the upper floor. Now you go ride your bike for 50 miles and I'll see you at dinner. Like
I love it.
kind of crazy.
That is so cool.
It's a lot. So cycling takes way longer than running. So our weekends are
Yeah.
consumed by like one of us on the bike for way longer than running. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So it
But
helps that you guys are both like flexible people
Mhm.
and not stuck on, like, very hung up on a certain time to work out is what it
yeah,
sounds like.
or like a certain result too.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
it's not being
Yeah.
attached to result, just getting what you can in. Like I don't know how fast I ride and slow, obviously,
yeah, it's
because
like
it took forever. But like
if you
I don't worry about those details. And
if I
that's kind of the nice thing about kind of being on the other side of our competitive
Mhm.
days. Is we don't need to worry about hitting splits. So if it was a rough night of sleep, we can probably still get up and do it.
yeah, if
You
I can't
know.
run 18.6 miles, I'll run 12.4.
Oh, boys on.
I don't know how many kilometers that is. I
Hold
can't.
on.
Why?
Or
Don't make me
20K.
do the math.
It's 20K.
wait.
I ended up in
Hold
an
on, let
ambulance.
me do the math.
It's
Oh, it's
20.
20.
Yeah.
Oh, duh. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, looking forward to like the future horizon. Like what is that looking like? What big goals do you guys have going on? What's on your radar? We're curious. Like I feel like
We
our
try a lot.
audience.
We've
Yeah.
talked about this a
She
lot.
well,
More
you
from me.
you
So
ran in the lottery for well,
yeah.
I should say.
So I had this treatment done and I'm kind of in limbo right now because I'm trying to figure out where I can push, where I can pull back because I do want to set some time goals. But after my sister ran the marathon, I thought her Chicago qualifying time was 3:25 because I forget she's way younger than me. It's 3:20, so she didn't qualify, but I threw myself in the lottery immediately when I thought she ran it. She got it. So I'm in the lottery for Chicago. Whether or not I'll actually make it there, like, I don't even care. Like, if I don't get in the lottery, it's not a big deal. But I do have a goal of doing, like, a half marathon in April to see if I can actually do that half marathon, and then seeing what I can do in the marathon, like having a little bit more than a completion goal. I'm thinking like sub 5 hours, right? Like
Yeah.
it's still going to be walk running. It's still going to be slow, but I'm like, how can I use what I know about cycling now and what I've gained from being able to having this other outlet? How can I use that to allow me to train a little harder without impacting my calves and using the walk run method that worked for Boston for another race? But whether that's Chicago or not, we do have so many races around here that I'd be able to find one the same weekend-ish. There's tons that weekend. If you want to see the most perfect weekend in New England in your life, it is the weekend of the Chicago Marathon. The foliage, the weather is beautiful. You know, I'm going to say this and it's going to be an ice storm because sometimes that happens.
I know.
It is chef's kiss. It's the hill I will die on. New England's
Chef's
the
kiss.
second and third week of October
Yeah,
are perfect.
We did a century ride together.
Yeah, so we did a century ride this year. And then
that's
I
so
do have a goal of doing last year I did another century ride, not the one we did together. It was my first one. And I wanted to do that to see, can I do an Ironman? So I did the Iron Distance was part of this like bigger ride. And
Was that the one where you rode on the dirt?
no, God, no. That was only like a 30-mile ride, but that like video went viral and I'm sad because the audio doesn't work on it anymore, but people are still commenting on it to this day. They're like, get this girl a gravel bike. but no, I didn't actually post about this one too much because it was like the end of the school year and we were, you know, it was so crazy. But it was I did like a 114-mile ride, but the full distance of that day was 150. It's called the B2VT. And
That's
so I
insane.
want to do the full thing because I don't know. I have the shirt that says I did the B2VT. And when we went to Colorado, there were people that knew about it. And I was like, well, I didn't do the full one. I started at like the first aid station because they have like all the aid stations are like different starting lines for different groups. So I just wanted to get the full iron distance in so I could feel like, okay, I can do that. But I have a goal of doing that whole thing, and I'm hoping I can like rope him in to go with me because it was this girl who had her either boyfriend or husband riding it with her the whole way, and I was so jealous that she could draft the whole way, but I drafted behind her. But I was like, oh man, look, she's so lucky. She has someone to draft off of in this wind the whole way. So I'm like, oh, maybe we can get a babysitter for that weekend.
That would be awesome.
No
Yeah,
ditching
some
her,
sort for me.
Matthew.
But you, what are your goals? Follow Caitlyn.
Well,
Actually, let Caitlyn follow me.
definitely, it's training for Ironman so consuming. I don't want it to be an every year thing. So since I did one this year, I probably won't do one next year.
Yeah.
With my job, I get the fortune of supporting like some local races, including local marathons. So I think I might do one of those that like we're supporting. You know, be able to piggyback off of a work trip. Do have a
You don't
little
have to
bit more
pay for it.
freedom to do things when I'm on a work trip. And yeah, no, I think and there's a couple cycling events I want to do because I'm starting to think gravel biking is a lot of fun. I may do. There's a half Ironman in Western Massachusetts
Yeah.
at a pretty convenient time, but
We need the dance recital schedule because
Yes.
sometimes it pops
Oh
up.
my God.
So once the dance recital
Yeah.
schedule is finalized, we will know whether he can do that one, but it's only an hour away from us. So
Wow, that's nice. So it's
Yeah.
pretty local to you. That would be super
especially when you have
convenient.
to like bring your bike and all this swim and stuff.
Yeah.
The amount of details you need to be dialed in on to get all the stuff you need to the start of an Ironman. Like think about
Oh,
the
I'm
fueling you have to do for a marathon. Imagine now fueling for like a 10+ hour day.
Yeah,
You
it's-
I
know?
know.
And for
can't
me,
even imagine.
like, I
Weekend.
would like to come to 17. That'd be my goal. I just want to count like a real finish. But but yes,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to remember. So having it an hour away
Wow.
would be nice. Yeah.
That would be so nice. That's
Yeah.
really cool. That's super neat.
Yeah. So
That-
we got a couple things.
that dance recital stuff is a real thing. Me and Olivia were just joking around about that because our girls go to the same dance like studio, and it's 2 days before our 3 days before our marathon race.
Yeah, 3
And
days.
we were sweating bullets. We were like, we hope it's not the 12th, the day before the marathon race, because it's like a 5-hour drive from where we are. And my poor kids, they missed it the last 2 years because I ran CIM before the recitals went out, the dates. And I was like, I hope we're not missing it for a third time.
That'd be so sad.
But that's
I
smart.
No, I know. Well, last year we were like, I was training for this speed of VT, the 112-mile ride I did,
Yeah.
and I'm riding my bike to the recital, changing in
Oh
the
my
car.
God.
You did?
And I have this really cute jumper that has like the peekaboo under here. I left my heart rate monitor on. I kid you not. And when I look down, I can't see it.
Yeah.
But I walked into the bathroom and my heart rate monitor is like peeking through this like peekaboo hole in my jumper. And I'm like, oh my God, why did no one tell me? And I still have my sunglasses up on my head, and they're not normal sunglasses. They're the clear ones for cycling to block the debris from hitting your eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what?
It was-
You're
I
like,
didn't
I
say
want everyone to know.
I didn't say anything because I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
You're like, ask
Whatever.
miles I ran. Or
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God. And the amount of people I talked to that day too, that I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst. Like the worst. It's kind of hilarious. Yeah.
They probably thought you were such a badass mom. Are you kidding me?
People definitely are like, well, that's amazing. But, we all do what we have to do,
Yeah.
You rode to the rehearsal, and then I ran with the stroller around the campus.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So that's the type of juggling we're talking about. It's like
Yeah.
chaos
I love it.
motion, but kind of good, but not
I
advice.
love
for
it. That is
everyone,
so
you know,
funny.
yeah.
People looking out the window, they're like, that's that crazy triathlon couple. Mm.
Yeah, and honestly, it's because only one of our cars now, because one of the kids is out of a car seat, only one of our cars fits all 3 kids. So the amount of times he's like creepishly parked in a parking lot where people we're like women at a trail where women are like now nervous because he's waiting for me to pull up with the other car
Oh my God.
to switch the bike rack and all of that. Like he's like he like wears a shirt that like says dad like to the third so that they know like he's just a
Yeah.
dad. Like,
Friend.
dad
Hey.
don't do anything, like I'm safe, I swear.
That's literally my husband. I mean, he was the same way. Like back in 2023 when he had more flexibility, he used to follow me in our 12-passenger Nissan NV. And literally, talk about creeper vehicle. Like it's pretty creepy. It's a 12-passenger. And here's a male like following me in the early mornings, and he's got the kids in the back. And I'm like, I just need you to pass me like my drinks and my fuel. And he's like, dude, people probably think I'm checking you out. I'm like filming you on the side of the road. And so I relate
I
so
think that's
hard
when I
to
started
that.
following you. Like you had those videos into the sunset,
Yes.
And then I'm like, man, this girl's from a big family. I am too. Like, let's be friends.
I know. Yeah. We gotta do what we gotta do, right?
Totally. Yeah, and that's probably easier to have all the kids buckled in than to have
Yes.
them roaming around the house. Like, at least nobody's making a mess of the house. They're all buckled in. We're good.
Yeah.
Here's the snacks, gummy bears, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
Oh. Well, leaving with this last question, like how do you guys envision like continuing to both grow like as athletes and as a family? Like what do you guys kind of want your family dynamic to be like? What do you want your kids to kind of just take away from all that you're doing?
I think the perseverance.
Yeah.
Our middle daughter just won the perseverance as they're fighting on the trampoline. Our middle daughter just won the perseverance award at school for, persevering through her academics. And so like that's sort of what we try to instill in them across everything. And that's kind of what our running team was about. We didn't talk much about it because it's like kind of in our rearview mirror, but we had a team called the Sisu Project. And do you want
So cool.
Sisu is like a Finnish word. He had a lot of Finnish friends and went to a college that had a big Finnish population. So Sisu is a Finnish word for like that inner strength or like the strength you didn't know was there until you needed it. So we kind of live by that, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you said it well, and I would just also add like I've already talked a little bit about just movement is part of our lives, but also, respecting one another, like, we respect
Yeah.
what's
Totally.
important to one
Yeah.
another, and,
Yeah.
I think it's respect and support. I think it's those 2
And like
things.
a team, because sometimes, and you know, Shanna, you have kids that are similar in age with mine, and Olivia, you're probably approaching that with yours, is like they're old enough to understand like this is a family unit, is a team. And when
Yeah.
mommy needs this or daddy needs this, you have your job to do too. And so as they get older, understanding that like us going for our workouts is part of the team, and then us taking you to yours, that's part of the team, and just an all around like supporting people's goals. And our philosophy for our running team was your goal is my goal, and
I love
we don't
that.
really talk about that anymore because the team's kind of like in our past, but that's kind of how we live our life, really. Yeah.
You know, I I don't know if it's the same anymore, but, like, also one thing I already see in our kids, but I hope it continues to flourish is, at least when I was growing up, it was almost like people would laugh that I would try to do sports. Like,
Mm.
I didn't feel,
Wait till you have kids.
I didn't, or and I think it might happen to, like, girls when they're young too.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's starting to go away, which is really nice, but, uh, just supporting anyone who's trying to experience, like, moving their body or doing something they didn't think they could do is something that I really important for me to see within them.
I
And,
love
all the kids in the
And
world.
like learning from your kids, like as an adult, to pivot to do something new as an adult is way scarier than kids. Kids just do new things all the time,
They
and we
do.
encourage them to keep trying. And if we could encourage ourselves the same way we encourage our kids to keep trying, but that's something like and I'm a teacher for kids with special needs, and like, watching them persevere, or even how I coach them through things that are hard. Like we all have hard things that we need to overcome. And it's really just like, that perseverance part of it. And just, yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. But just like,
Yeah.
you know, just understanding that like trying something new is scary for everyone, and
Mm,
that, you know, it's okay to look foolish when you first start.
yeah.
I mean, I sometimes will post the video of when I first got on the bike, and he's like laughing at me, like, you got to get it together. I'm like, how am I supposed to ride when I'm terrified to go down this hill right now? And we live on this really steep hill. How am I going anywhere? But like trying new things, like if they're a mom that wants to pick up running for the first time, we could have a whole podcast on my mom, but my mom did not start running until after I
Oh god.
started running.
You guys
My
should
mom
interview
has,
her.
yeah, you actually should have my mom
Um,
on, although I
Yeah.
don't say. She has 8 kids. She's done 106 marathons. She has
Oh my
done,
God.
a 70
she's
point.
hiked every
She's
4,000
hiked
foot
every
mountain.
4,000 footer. She has her doctorate. She got her college degrees after having 8 kids, 2 master's degrees.
So freaking
So like I
awesome.
kind of come from a thread of people, but seeing my mom even like, you know, not be afraid to pick up new things. And I think,
Mhm.
So her mom took me out to swim
yeah,
5 kilometers.
No
Oh, wow.
way.
tracks him around on the swims.
64?
I don't
Oh my
know.
god, that is so
Do you
cool.
feel like that? I know, sorry I said that was last question. I'm like, oh,
Sorry, yeah, I brought in a whole nother. You'll need a whole podcast for
we'll
my
have you guys back on. But
Yeah.
I'm just curious because you brought up your mom and that dynamic of seeing your mom and that like truly living motherhood. Like she sacrificed, she had 8 kids. Like I'm on my 7th and it's like it feels like you just are having babies your whole life.
Yeah.
Like and you're on the now she's on the side where she's like, okay, now it's kind of my season to
Live my
really lean
life.
into
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm just curious, like as a child perspective, do you feel like that helped shape who you are today as a mom and kind of bled into your own parenthood? Like I think that's
Yeah.
so beautiful to hear the child's perspective in this
It's
situation.
an interesting question because, big families have like really crazy dynamics. And I think my mom grew up in a time where women doing sports was like not a
Mhm.
thing unless, like it wasn't a thing.
She was a cheerleader.
Yeah, so I think my mom had like a little bit of identity shaping happening, but I'll be honest, she started running when I was in high school, and for the most part it repulsed me. Like I was like, I don't want you to do what I'm doing. And she would always listen when I tell you, she would always compare it to having children. And I would told me was like, no, you don't. You cannot compare my race to having babies. And I know, Olivia, what do we do now? So as an adult, I've kind of like been like, well, maybe mom was right, you know? And I can see it a lot more clearly now. And any of the things as like a high schooler or, you know, whatever child that I didn't understand about my mom, I think I'm pretty good about having that perspective now. But that's why we don't ask her for babysitting help too much, because I kind of like, my mom is like living her life words. She like had all the kids, then got the degree, then did all the fun sports. Like she's like living her life backwards. So we just like Benjamin Button here. We just gotta let her go live, you know? Like if you're gonna invite her on the fun things, you know?
If anything, I think it's like it's shaping us now. Like, there's the classic like archetype of the judgy mother-in-law. Like, why are you doing that? And my
No.
mother-in-law's like, oh, can I come? That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Like my mom, we've learned she's not like reliable for babysitting, but if you want someone to run with you, she's there. And even if you're not running the same pace, she'll be like, I'll meet you at the trail and then we can meet up where the water stop is. If you want to go for a way, way longer swim than you planned, my mom is for sure going to be like, well, let's keep going a little longer. It's not that much.
Oh my
If you want to go for a hike that you thought was only going to be 5 hours, but it ends up 10, that's my mom. Okay. Like my mom is like definitely down to do like those things. Don't ask her to babysit though. She will if she asks her. But she's like, I kind of want to go do the thing you're going to do.
When you ran Erie to qualify for Boston,
yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, we're going out with the kids, and my mother-in-law like, oh, is she watching the kids? I'm like, no, she's actually running the race. I'm watching the kids.
Me. And for sure, she knows I'm in for Chicago. Like, if my sister also gets in for Chicago, my mom is like, I don't know, I'm coming to Chicago.
So
you know,
I'll be watching the kids.
Yeah,
I love it.
like she's not gonna be watching our kids. She's gonna be in the race. You know, like so yeah. I mean, but yeah, I do think like hindsight, I've kind of learned that I have more of her personality than I would have wanted to admit growing up. But yeah, like growing up, like, yeah, I think she had a lot of like change in identity as well, just because of the time period in which she was like, you know, growing up was not conducive for women doing sports. So I'm happy for her. She's, you know, doing all the things she wants to do, and all the kids are mostly out of the house now. And she uses her kids to like get through miles. She was like, this mile is for Caitlyn. This mile is for other Matt. Brother Matt needs a little extra mile here because he needs more help. Like, she gets through stuff. This mile is for Joe. This mile, you know. So yeah, I mean, she gets some of it. Yeah. That'll have to be a whole nother podcast. I should not have opened that. Like, we could talk forever, but no. But yeah, Shanna, if you want any other things about being a big family, you just you can call me.
we'll definitely have you on for another whole different series for sure. You guys have been such a treat to listen to, and I mean, I feel like I've been uplifted and inspired in so many ways, just with the like relationship you two have with each other, the respect level you guys have. It's very evident, and it like makes me emotional because like I know that there are women that don't have that. But I just hope that this encourages, you know, other partners and marriages that are out there that you can make it both work, and you guys have like a non-ideal like situation and circumstances, but you continue to thrive through that because you choose to thrive through that. And I think that's it comes down to that. It comes down to a choice, but also the support with each other and the respect level for each other, and in your guys' goals. So I just like, I really appreciate you guys coming on here, and just like you've helped me to even think, you know, what am I giving my husband his season too? And I want to make sure that we have that balance in our marriage, that it's not always, you know, me constantly going for my goals, but that he gets to go for some of his goals too. Cause I think sometimes it can get a little easy to be the one that's taking all the time. So
I do my fair share. No, it's been really awesome to be on. I really enjoyed it. I am always listening to your podcast when I'm cleaning my house. So it's nice to be on this side of it. My house is actually not a total disaster, but it, you know, maybe it is.
Probably is now. Probably is now.
I know. I'm like,
probably is.
You should have longer podcasts. So
Yeah.
get rid of that.
It was long, so if you're there's somebody out there cleaning their house, you're
Yeah.
2 hours. 2 hours.
Yeah. Making
Literal
it so
level.
much fun. Well, I'm gonna text my husband and let him know that he can do an Ironman if I can have. He's gonna be like,
Olivia,
I didn't
oh my
know any of that.
Yes.
My husband who has never expressed anything about doing an Ironman. I'm gonna offer
What
it
is
to
it
him.
that you want that I can trade for this thing? And then let
I'm
me
gonna
fly
start.
to hold your baby and smell its head because that's all I want. My sister is actually due to have her baby in like a week or two. She's due like right
wow.
around Thanksgiving, and I'm like, can I just smell the baby's head? I need to
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Just
you
the
know,
other-
and then you're gonna get the love on Shanna's because you guys live so close to each other. So
Yeah. Just the other day, I was telling my husband, I was like, I just really hope she has twins so that I can just have one.
So I can have
Oh
one.
my God, it's so weird. And I was like, not really. They'd see
know.
each other all the time.
I know. I secretly was like, can it be twins so that I can have the 4 kids that I wanted? And then he was like, no.
I know.
But no, I think that door is closed for me, so I'll have to live vicariously through you youthful, beautiful girls, women.
Oh my gosh. Well, you just never know, you know?
You never know. Yeah, I don't even trust a vasectomy with us. I just don't. I like hyperfertility. I want to be
Hyperfertility.
sensitive to other people. We all go through our things, but yeah, that's actually sometimes makes things difficult too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Fear of getting pregnant every time.
Fear of getting pregnant.
That
Oh
is
my gosh.
awesome.
That's so funny. Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you everyone for listening. Again, we're building that new platform, so appreciate it if you'd rate, subscribe, and share our podcast with another fellow mama. And again, we're always looking for shout outs, and see, they can be simple like today. Somebody has a race coming up, and we're happy to shout you out. So please reach out with that. But you guys, thank you so much. This was such a pleasure to talk to you guys and meet you.
So much fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.